Hi, it's Karen from Black Swan Journals, and today I'm sharing with you how I bound this journal together and a final flip through of how we made this pretty girl together. If you've been following along in the series of how to make a self-care junk journal, then you know what's inside. You've seen what's inside. You've probably seen the videos on making the different pages and decorating them and selecting the pages in the beginning and how to fold them and arrange them and put them together. So as I created this journal and decorated it, it became very chunky. And I realized that as this is a series for beginners, in order to bind it in, I probably would have to hinge it in order to make the journal friendly to work in. And I don't know if I'd consider that a beginner technique. So what I chose to do was the simplest thing ever, which is take an elastic or a ribbon and open the journal with the center open. Take your ribbon or elastic and put it right around the whole thing. And it's so easy to work in. You can slip pages in and out. You can add pages, remove pages. So that's what I chose to do. It's really easy to do. And then also what I decided to do was I had this old blue placemat and I decided to use it as an additional cover to sort of protect the outside cardstock and just, I don't know, give it a little special wrap. And I am not a sewer. I'm brand new to sewing. So I have to say that the ribbon that I sewed on, the crushed velvet ribbon, that I did some cross stitch X's by hand, I did do videoing on that, but you wouldn't want to see it. um, I'm just learning there, so it couldn't be simpler. I've never done it before. I just took a piece of ribbon, cross stitched it right across the placemat, and voila, I had a mat. I mean, a cover for my journal. So here on the first page, you've already seen this, I'm sure, if you've been following along, but just some ephemera that we've made together. And the idea of self-care here was bird watching. I love to watch birds. I love nature. Birds are a huge part of self-care for me, and as is nature. But this spread here is devoted mainly to birds. So I've got some old book pages and things I'm reusing to take notes on. I'd love to take this journal out with me when I go into nature, or just look out my window when I'm looking at birds, at my bird feeder or birds that are sitting on my trees. And maybe write a little poetry or take some notes or just journal what I'm doing that day. And practice living slowly and living gently. So here's the next spread, and this one is paying some honor and homage to the ocean. It's another way I take care of myself and provide self-care, is I go to the ocean at least once a week. It's about an hour away from me. I live in the mountains and in the lakes, but I'm lucky enough to have the ocean an hour away from me. So I go about once a week and spend time in the ocean. And I relax, I watercolor, I meditate, I just be still, I listen, I watch. Sometimes I create, I paint, I draw. And I just try to be still and care and love for myself, which is something new for me, fairly new. I'm a reformed workaholic. I'm learning to live slowly and be gentle and care for myself. And this is a journal that I've made to use on a daily basis to help remember and prompt myself to provide self-care. So there's videos on decorating here, but if you're interested on any of this, but anyways, I just used some paste and watercolor papers and die cuts and a feather I found on the beach and old book pages, lots of inking around the edges, and those are some watercolor papers that I die cut, and some blank watercolor paper to take with me to go to the beach when I use my journal for self-care at the ocean. And another little mini journal I created to put in my journal to create extra journaling space for thoughts that I have, or messages, or just deep thoughts I may have, or clarity when I'm at the ocean, to write things down. It's so important to have a journal, I find. It's so important. You know, I always think I'm going to remember things, but if I don't jot things down, we really don't remember everything we think we're going to. We definitely hold on to some things and remember for years and years and years, but I think we forget a lot of things we intend on remembering. So here's the next spread, and this one is about self-care for me because it's about my studio and being in my future studio. It's in the works, it's in creation. I'm working on a very giant studio and having fun decorating it. But anyhow, when I am creating, it is definitely self-care, and I just really let go and try to let flow go through me. And when that happens, I feel so good and relaxed, and it's a wonderful form of self-care for me to create. So also in my studio, I will be sewing. So here are some old buttons that I found in a thrift store. And this is a piece of ephemera I got from a yarn store, and I took some embroidery floss and wrapped it around because I want to take this journal with me and start to learn how to slow stitch and embroider. Here's a little envelope I made from a magazine that I was very much inspired by. I do love flowers, and flowers were and are a huge part of my life, so I always include a lot of flowers in my journals. Here was another word, and I chose to put the word studio over it because the other word wasn't suiting. Here is an old doodle I did for what I was going to have as a craft room, but now it's more of a studio than a craft room because I've evolved since then, and I'm starting to draw and paint and just beginning, but having lots of fun. And that was a beautiful piece of, I don't know what, something handmade from a thrift store I found that I used as a flip. And this next spread is definitely an homage to nature and the trails that I have right in my backyard. I'm very lucky to have trail systems in my backyard that I use daily. And I fell in love with my house around 22 years ago when I bought it for a lot of reasons, but one of the reasons was it has a babbling brook along the side, and that is in the part of the video here. If you see the end of the video, I put a clip in it. It's absolutely stunning this time of year. We just had a lot of rain and it's really gorgeous. But anyway, I use it daily, and walk my dogs. I meditate. I pick up pieces of nature, feathers, moss, um, birch bark, pine needles, different things. And I just love to bring my journal along sometimes and put my little collections and gatherings in there. Or if I do any meditating in the woods, I have a place to jot some things down after I'm done. So here's a way I just used a bunch of scraps that I had and created some journaling space on some junk mail. That's all glued down to junk mail. And here is a little belly band I made, but it's not a belly band. It's fastened on with a hidden paper clip that I made. And the letter F is for forage, because I love to forage in the woods. This is all part of self-care for me. Being in nature, being in the woods, meditating, being still, looking at what nature has to offer. It's 100% self-care for me. So here on the back, I just took a metal die that I had and did some ink dyeing around the die and created that little negative image of a hollyhock and stuck in some papers for journaling. Another little die cut that I had with birch trees, and then some old book pages there. I thought this might have been a page, but no, I forgot. It's a pocket that I made, and I forgot there were things in here. So I was super surprised to do this flip through on camera today with you and discover these papers I forgot about. I just finished this journal with you, so this is my first time sort of going back through what we made before. um, so yeah, those were some digitals that I got from the Graphics Fairy, and on the back I did some stamping and then heat embossing to create those loons, the birds, the loons that were flying in the sky. I'm lucky enough to live a half a mile from the lake, and we have loons here in New Hampshire, in the States, and I get to hear the loons calling. Usually it's sunset or sunrise. So here's the next page, and this page and the next page are a video I just did about creating a mood tracker. And if you don't know what a mood tracker is, it's a way to track your mood with keys like that you make on a key chart, or symbols that you make on a little chart. And each day you just jot down the little symbols on a calendar. And at the end of a period of time, I chose 30 days, you can look at those symbols and leave some room for some extra notes and some things to consider. And it's important what to consider. For me, I chose how much I slept, what I ate, if I did yoga, if I created or not, if I lived with intention, what kind of self-talk did I do that day, what was going on just overall that day in my family, or just what overall. Just basically some notes that will help me at the end of 30 days look at my key symbols, which will tell me how I was feeling that day, and then some notes on those papers I was just flipping through, and put two and two together, and you can kind of see maybe what was helping you make you feel happy, and maybe you could kind of see if you weren't feeling so great what you were doing, and maybe make some adjustments. Maybe adding more of the good and minusing some of the bad. So right there were my keys. And so each day here I chose to just get creative. You do not have to do this. You can just use a calendar or a piece of paper with lines 1 through 31 for January, I chose, and of 2024 coming right up. And you can just write lines, so you don't be intimidated by the house drawing, which is just very basic, by the way. I'm just learning to draw. But if it does intimidate you, just draw some lines. No big deal. No big deal at all. Just take it easy. And yeah, so each day I'll write a little symbol, like if I'm sad or happy or feel loving or if I feel giving or if I feel grief or I feel creative or the different things that I feel. And then I'll take little notes on how I felt, and then I'll figure out some things at the end of 30 days for some self improvement. So, here on the next page, um, oh, yeah, that from me to me was just being a little cheeky. It was a gift from me to me. Have some fun, every day, make yourself laugh. Don't take life too seriously. So on this page, I did a video on this and how I drew and painted everything. And again, I'm just learning to draw here. So I did it along with you on another video. But anyhow, if you're a good artist, no judgment, please. But anyway, it's all perspective. It's all where you're at in life. It's all our personal journeys. So anyhow, I explained in this other video how I've been dressing in work gear for over a decade due to my job. And I have a very feminine side of me and many feminine things that I own, but don't use them. And I want to. So this spread here for self-care is going to prompt me to go ahead and start using them and dressing that way and using those things. So here now on this spread, that on the left there, I'm actually getting personal a little bit here with you now and giving you a little glimpse into my life. This is actually a photo I took of my house with my cell phone, and I printed it out on my printer. And I had no idea how it would come out, but I thought it came out really good. What I love about it is the sunlight up at the top in the trees. Oh my gosh, the lighting in the photo. But anyhow, this was an old book page that I had taken with gardens. In case you haven't heard my other videos, I am a professional gardener and a former flower shop owner and designer. But now I actually get my hands dirty. I design gardens, but I actually work in them as well. So these pages here are going to prompt me and to stop being such a workaholic for others, my clients, and start tending to my own house. Here's another photo of my house. Start tending to my own gardens. Start tending to my own property. I bought this property 22 years ago because I absolutely loved it and wanted to have beautiful gardens and a beautiful home and a place to entertain and a place to raise family. And instead, I've worked and worked and worked. And now I'm correcting that and I'm learning to self care and I'm learning to take time to go slow and live life and live and do what's important. What is important? Family, creating memories, creating moments, loving those who are here and around you. So on that former page, I just stamped the word grow with question mark, and there I'll probably jot some notes on what I plan to grow in the upcoming season in my yard. And on this page, I did a prompt by Janet Nash, and the prompt was the wonders of nature. And for me, the delphinium flower, I don't mean to be so specific and crazy and silly, but and up close and personal, but the delphinium flower is definitely a wonder of nature to me. I love the delphinium. Um, it's also larkspur. It's stunning. It's also like monkshood, I think, is kind of near it, a continum. And I just absolutely love it. And I get lost in it. And I used to be a person that didn't take time to look around. And now I definitely get distracted by nature and get lost in it. And if you're feeling the need for this, please just start doing it. Start breathing. Start just taking some time to sit and look and be still. It will evolve you and change you in so many ways for the better. I promise you'll love it. And I promise you'll love yourself. And it's a beautiful form of self-care. So this whole spread is about, my wonders of nature, like what in nature makes me stop in wonderment. I had to do two spreads. One was of the delphinium, and here's some pages I dyed, and I'm gonna have a video coming up on that, on how I dye my bright colored papers, how to do that. I also use salt, coarse salt. So here's the second spread in Janet Nash's prompt of the wonders of nature. And I also am very wowed and amazed by sunrises and sunsets. So I did some ink blending here, and I have to say I realize this isn't a very beginner thing to do in your journal. But just in case you're wanting to branch out and learn some things, I guess I wanted to include things of this nature for you, and I hope that's okay. So on the back is plenty of space to journal thoughts and things I feel about nature and quotes that I learn on Janet's channel. And here on some junk mail, I put some gesso down first, white gesso, let it dry, and then I just did some simple pencil sketch of some mountains. I'm lucky enough to live in the mountains and the lakes here where I live in the lakes region, Lake Winnipesaukee. And just watercolored the mountains there, very casual. I'm just learning. And then that bluebird is from the Graphics Fairy. I just printed it out, and then I fussy cut and glued it down. This next spread I did a video on, and it's kind of not a heavy video, but it's a serious video. And it's a video about if you're having things that are troubling you or depressing you, or if you feel stuck, or you have feelings that you feel hurt by someone, or perhaps you've hurt someone, or, things of this nature. I wanted to, in this spread, make some really pretty pockets by folding. And then sort of doing some mixed media techniques on the folded pockets, and then doing some ink blending and napkin decoupaging to create journaling tags. And the tags are to let these things go. And what I mean by that is I find it hard to just like let them go in meditation and stuff like that. But I recently found out that you can sort of rewrite the way you wanted things to go. You could also meditate and relive them in your meditation and drop them into your heart. And I hear that it's very beneficial to lift our spirits and sort of retrain our hearts and our brains on how we want some tough things to not feel so tough anymore. So this whole video was on that. We created all these things together on there. And then I explained that's what you do with these cards. On the backs of these cards, you can rewrite some of these things that may affect you, and you want them to affect you more positively. And remember them in a way that you wished they could have gone. And I hear that it's very, very helpful if you are serious while you're doing it and you put it into your heart. So here's another spread I did, and this is a page that I'm giving more homage and honor to nature, because nature again is just a huge part of self-care for me. Here I drew a little dogwood and added some inks too. Here I watercolored a little tag and then die cut a little moose and added some ribbons and trims and a mother of pearl, sort of like an abalone shell button. And then I die cut the word love and stamped and with an old book page there. Here I made a little journaling card that's about nature and bubble wrap to make those marks there in the black. There's videos on this and how I did it. We did it together if you've seen it. If not and you're interested, there are videos on it. And they're the parts on how to decorate. I used some old lace and trims, and here's a tag that I used. It's so special to me because it just came from my daughter's baby shower that we had, and I am a former florist, so I always end up doing flowers for family events and functions, which I love to do. So I kept the little tag that came with the roses that I bought so that I could make arrangements and things for the shower. And here's some tags that I, papers I embossed and then put some gold on and some charms and ribbons. And I have never blanket stitched in my life. I've never really done any stitching. Like I said, the front journal cover was the first time I ever cross-stitched. It's sloppy, but it adds to the charm. It looks handmade. And then the blanket stitch on the side I did on video. It's sloppy, but it's the first time I've ever done it, and it not too bad for the first time. I think I chose difficult thread too. I chose metallic embroidery floss, so it's like 6 strands of thread at once, you know? So you probably could have used something way easier. I don't know, maybe not. Maybe that's normal. I'm new at it, so. But then here's some other pages where I really recommend doing this if for self-care in your journal. Whatever your first initial is, write it or stamp it, paint it, draw it, whatever you want in your journal. Like if it's M for Mary, put M is for, and then sit down now and then and think of positive words that start with M. In my case, it's K for Karen, and write them down. And think of yourself in beautiful, loving, positive ways, in words that start with your name. And here's another page that was again a prompt from Janet Nash's channel. And I think this one was owls. Her prompt was owls and something you love. I think maybe your favorite color. I forget maybe the rest of the prompts, but here's a large journaling card with the owl that I made, and a lot of journaling space here on the papers, on the pages. And I absolutely love horses, so I made another journaling card here with the horse, and there's videos on this on how I made it all if you haven't seen it and you'd like to. Lots of space for writing and a little pocket tuck thing there. And here's the last page in the cover, in the last part of the cover. And just a little journaling card on the left here with a portion of the front cover. This was the cut off, or the end cut of it. And I made a few little pockets with book pages and things and doilies, and wrote the word give to prompt myself for self-care to give, and a bunch of other words and quotes that make me feel loving and giving and kind. And a little pocket here to tuck some goodies in. And I love to reuse greeting cards in my journals, either cards I've found in thrift stores that either have been filled out or haven't, I don't care either way, or cards I've bought and maybe never gave, or cards that I've received and I repurpose in my journals. So here I'm showing you close up if you want to use acetate as a see-through pocket or tuck. There's a little way you can fasten it without having to see the glue and without having to sew it if you don't have a sewing machine. So now I chose to just do a little extra with the journal. You don't have to do this. You can just simply take a ribbon or a piece of fabric or a t-shirt, rip it up, and just tie, or an elastic, and tie it right around the journal. I just want to thank everyone so much if anyone's interested and have been here. I love everybody. Thank you so much. And little bunny bum, hi little bunny feet. Hi. Thank you. Bye.